If you're keeping up with Wuthering Waves news, you would know that the first banner that we're getting in Wuthering Waves is Jiyan. Right after that is Yinlin. And then in 1.1, two more new characters have been teased by Kuro, Jinshi and Changli. So, if you're feeling confused about who to get or who should you prioritize, this is the video for you. In this video, I'll be breaking down all the information we have about these characters and their pros and cons. So let's get right to it. Let's talk about Jiyan first. Jiyan is a very strong aero primary DPS character. Primary DPSs are characters that excel in doing damage and only damage. They usually have very strong kits focused entirely on dealing damage and no real support capabilities. Jiyan excels in dealing a ton of aero damage, especially in AoE. He enters an enhanced state after using his Resonance Liberation that turns all his attacks into heavy attack damage. He deals most of his damage in his Resonance Liberation state, and his attacks become much stronger and have a much larger AoE, and also groups enemies. This makes him a very strong character in AoE scenarios, like the ones in the endgame mode Tower of Adversity. So if you're looking for a very strong main DPS character, Jiyan could be a very good pick. In summary, Jiyan's pros are great AoE damage and crowd control abilities, making him a very good character for the endgame mode Tower of Adversity. Although his damage is AoE, his single target damage is still comparable to the other strong main DPSs in the game like Kelcharo. As a limited banner aero primary DPS character, he is gonna be staying relevant for the foreseeable future. So he's a very strong pick if you just want a straight up strong main DPS character. His cons are gonna be his uptime. Most of his damage is gonna be dealt in his Resolution Liberation state. Even his massive AoE and crowd control abilities are mostly just locked behind his Resonance Liberation state. So you want other characters in the team that are able to battery him more sufficiently. In this case, Yang is a very good pick as her outro skill restores Resolution Liberation energy for the next character, and also you can look into other echo sets that have similar effects. Next up, let's talk about Yinlin. She's gonna be the character appearing in the banner after Jiyan's. So she is a Electro secondary DPS character. As an Electro secondary DPS character, Yinlin is able to deal a lot of electro damage while still having abilities to support the team, or just the next character to be exact. So as a secondary DPS, Yinlin's outro skill is able to buff the next character that comes after her. Her outro skill buff is currently, I would say, the strongest one in the game, as it buffs two different things at the same time. It buffs both electro damage and Resonance Liberation damage by 20 and 25% respectively. This makes her a very valuable character, and as she can not only deal a lot of damage, which is even comparable to the primary DPS electro character in the game Kelcharo, but she can also support him by buffing him up when you switch out from her to him on the team. And there's not only her support ability and damage on field, her Forte Circuit also allows her to do damage off field. So Yinlin is a very strong character. In summary, her pros are gonna be very strong electro damage dealing capability in both AoE and single target, comparable to your primary electro DPSs in the game, being able to deal damage off field, and very strong buffs from the outro skill, buffing both electro damage and Resonance Liberation damage. As a character that can both deal damage and give a lot of buffs, Yinlin is gonna be a character that is gonna stay relevant for a very long time, and she's gonna be the go-to character for electro teams in the game. Her cons are gonna be her being locked to an electro team. So unless you have an electro damage dealer like Kelcharo, her value is gonna diminish greatly, since she won't be having anyone to buff. This kind of ties her value to having Kelcharo in her account. So if you have Kelcharo in your account, she's gonna be the best character to pull for. But if you don't, you can still pull her, but you won't be able to access her full value. Now let's talk about the characters which have been announced for the future. The two characters that have been announced for the future are Jin Shi and Chang Li. We don't have detailed information in these two characters, but I will be presenting whatever information we have currently. So for Jin Shi, she's gonna be either an Electro character or a Spectro character. The reason I say she's gonna be an Electro or Spectro character is because as Jin Shi has appeared in the main story quest of the game, and she has been seen using powers that are similar to electricity. So there is a very good chance that she's gonna be an Electro character. But there's still an argument of her being a Spectro character as well because of her design and also the white light kind of powers that she has been using. It's not just electric, but there's also like it is kind of white and there's like a lot of light motif and stuff. So it's still up in the air, but it's gonna be either one of these two, and she's likely to be a primary DPS in these two elements because she has been set up to be a very strong character in the story. If she's not a primary DPS, she's gonna be either an Electro support or a Spectro secondary DPS, but at the very least. The one thing that has more information than her element is gonna be her weapon. She is most likely to be a sword user, although some people do like to argue that it could be a broadsword as well. There is a very high chance that she's gonna be a sword user. Lastly, we have Chang Li. As for Chang Li, we have even less information, but her weapon is completely unknown. But we know that she could either be a fusion character or a havoc character, and will likely be a primary or secondary DPS. So now, since I've spoken about every single character, let's talk about who you would like to go. For Chang Li and Jin Shi, we have far too less information about what they do to decide how valuable they are or not, but they have great designs, and if you really like their designs, then go ahead and get them. It's all about pulling the characters you like and find interesting. But if you're looking for value, let's talk about the other two characters that we can get in 1.0. So we have Jiyan and Yinlin. If you are someone who wants to get Kelcharo from the selector or ends up getting a Kelcharo somehow, Yinlin is gonna be the best character to get because she alongside your Kelcharo are gonna form a very strong core for your Electro team. And this team is gonna be the strongest team in the game as of now because it's the only team with 2 5-star characters with very well defined roles. So if you can get both of these two characters, then you'll be in a very good spot in terms of progression. As for Jiyan, he's gonna be the best Aero primary DPS character for the foreseen future. So if you want a character with great AoE and you do not like Kelcharo, or you aren't able to get Kelcharo and have no plans of getting him, then Jiyan would be the better pick out of the two in 1.0. So that's it. And if you want to know about the top 5 characters that you want to build early in the game for boosting your progress, then check this video out. Well then, I'll see you next time.